Well, hello there, thoughtful people. Voting season is upon us, and a lot of people don't want to go vote because they feel that their vote doesn't matter. Not that it won't be counted, not even that there's fraud, but simply it's not going to make a difference, right? So if you're in that camp, and if you're reluctant to vote, or you don't like the candidates, or you don't see what difference it's all going to make, you should listen to this because I felt the same way, or I was kind of leaning in that direction anyway, because I live in a red state where my blue vote isn't going to change the outcome of much of anything. So I was saying to my guides, because I don't have many like-minded others to talk to where I am right now, I was saying, Thea and friends, what's the point? Why should I even bother? I think I'll sit this one out. And then they said something very surprising to me. They said, oh no, they said, even if your candidates lose, even if you don't make any change happen that's apparent to you here in the earthly plane, your vote actually has a huge effect. And it isn't the vote itself, but it's the energy and the intention that you put out when you go to the trouble of voting. You are making manifest a particular desire, a particular will, and when enough of you do this, you make change happen. There's a magic to this. It is very profound, it is deep, and it means that your vote matters even if things don't go your way, even if you don't like any of the candidates. What matters is what you have in your head and heart when you go through the actions of casting your vote. That was very eye-opening to me. There's a lot more behind it about the dynamics of collective will and how things manifest, how things go from intention to manifesting on the earth plane. So my guides gave me a brief little primer about this, and they convinced me. I went off and voted, and I thought some of you would appreciate this take on things as well. And so I'm sharing this with you today. Here we go. When you vote, you're giving manifest form to your will and your intention and your heart's desire. But this action is not confined to your physical actions on the earth plane, where you're moving your body to a polling place or filling out an absentee ballot and going through the physical motions that let your vote be registered with your elector's office. What you're really doing here is you are cultivating an energy on a spiritual and astral and psychic level that says, this is what I desire. This is what I wish to have happen. This is the change I want to see in the world around me, where I live. I want to see politics go a certain way. I want this politician's policies to come into effect. I like the energy this person has, and I want that in office. I want that to be part of what's contributing to the community that I live in. So all of these intentions are swirling around, and ordinarily you are taught simply that you feel these things and you quote-unquote let your voice be heard by going to place a vote. And then when your vote doesn't make a change happen and you don't see things become different in the way that you want, many of you are very disappointed by this and decide to withdraw from the election process. Now, we will freely admit that the way that your democracy is presently structured, it can indeed be very frustrating to work there on a physical level because there are many thumbs on the scale. People have played power politics and gamed the system and rigged the system, doing things that are apparently legal on their face, but that strip away the level playing field that democracy presupposes and in fact requires in order to be effective as a manner of communal governance. What's important about this is to know that when you move through life every day, you are sending out what Abraham, whom Esther Hicks channels, what Abraham calls rockets of desire. You have a will, you have an intention, you possibly have a very charged energy around that intention, and you know what you want, and you know what you desire, and you send it out there. So this happens along with you casting your vote. We would advise you that when you think about your candidates, that you not simply say, I want this person in office. Think rather, this person is in office. I like Katie Hobbs for governor. Will she win? That's the wrong way to think about it. I like Katie Hobbs. She is my governor. That's the way to think of it. The universe doesn't know, doesn't recognize the timelines and contingencies you have in your head. All it hears is your emotional charge. When you say, I want, you're saying, I don't have. When you put out a message of, I don't have, the universe amplifies that to you and can send back to you a whole lot more lack, which is what you're transmitting. We need this kind of person. We need someone heavy into climate change. We need someone who does renewable energy. We don't have that. We have to change that. Well, on one level, that's a true reflection of the world you're living in. But on the other, in the moment when you go to cast your vote, it would behoove you to say, take a moment, pause, and imagine living in that world with that person in office, because that's the reality you are navigating towards. You do that. You step into that timeline. In fact, you shift your entire world into that timeline by thinking of things in this manner. This is what has been tritely said in your world to be the power of positive thinking. But it is also a power that moves worlds. This is how you affect change on a large scale. When you go forth and you intend to vote, what you are doing is not just something for yourself. You are doing something that is an exercise of collective will. Even if that collective is just 2 of you, much less 20 million of you, that collective puts out an amplified energy to the universe around you. It has a greater ability to manifest what you are thinking and turn it into material form around you. So when you contribute to this collective will, you are speeding the creation of that outcome that you wish to see. This is the power of voting, even when you think the system that you're living in on the day-to-day, on the mundane level, even when you think that system won't give you the results that you desire. You're creating an energy scape, an energy landscape, an energy world where that possibility can become real. So your vote, however you vote, is a contribution to an energy tipping point when there are enough of you who are urging a thing into existence. It comes into existence. As the old adage has it, thought is form. This is very true. This becomes confusing when you live on the material plane, because it can take a long time for thought to manifest as form. There was a time in your past when simply thinking of something made it so. That's how you could manifest even a drinking vessel or a house. You thought of it, and there it materialized. You are long past the time when that was part of your daily life. We are talking back in the time of Lemuria and even before, when you were not so densely rooted into the dense material plane as you are now. This is why it takes a long time. Manifested solid molecules and particles and even low-level energy thoughts take a long time to manifest. But You can counterbalance that by having a heart vibration on a higher level, by having intention that is good, and we mean good in the sense of a positive vibration, something that is harmonious and beneficial to the whole. And when you think in these ways, beyond your single self, that speeds the collection of energy and the shift of the ineffable into tangible reality in your third dimensional world. If you could see things from this side, you would see that this energy, these energy forms, they have a weight and a mass and a color and a sound. There's a frequency vibration to them. When you have enough of you feeding this energy mass and this energy transition, it happens much more rapidly. It's that simple. So when you go forth and you vote, remember, it would help you to remember that you are not simply doing this on your level of physical living. You're doing this on an energy plane, and you're putting out energy that makes a shift happen there. And when that shift becomes weighty enough, it manifests where you live. So go forth, vote. Even if the local elections seem hopeless and you're sure your vote isn't going to make any difference at all, it does make a difference on the energy level. So put some energy into that. Reinforce to the universe what you desire and what you intend for your community. And let that have a voice. Let that intention take a manifest form with your vote. It doesn't matter if people with different opinions and different outlooks vote against your idea and overwhelm it and bury it in the moment, because we are working here on a collective scale, and the voices of all the like-minded others all across your nation are helping to build and create change that you will see locally in your area, much to everyone's surprise. This becomes a tipping point effect. It's like there was a time when people complained that restaurants had to have a smoking section to keep smokers away from people who didn't smoke. It was quite controversial. And then people complained because smokers had to smoke outside and couldn't smoke in the restaurants. And then people complained because smoking anywhere near the restaurant was outlawed, and so on. So there were always those that didn't like this, and always those who were opposed to the idea on whatever grounds they might have. But the collective will was, we wish a behavior change here because we perceive this behavior to be more detrimental to the whole of us than it is beneficial to the few. So this was an exercise in societal choice. But suddenly my point to this is not that people desire laws to happen and enforce social change. The point to this digression is that there came a point when suddenly it was a non-issue. People didn't kick about it. It didn't matter to them. It just was not a thing anymore that mattered. Same with seatbelts. People had to wear seatbelts. Things changed. Now it's reflex to put on a seatbelt. It doesn't matter. But that transition didn't happen simply because people went, oh, that's the rules, I guess I have to conform. Rather, there was a way that people thought about the issue and reacted to the issue that changed fundamentally on an energy level. That was when you hit the energy tipping point around a condition or a state of being or a way of living, and everything changed. Society changed to reflect it, from everybody smokes to almost nobody smokes. Well, relatively speaking, if you saw America in the 1940s, you would understand the difference in a very visceral kind of way. So the same thing happens pretty much with any large-scale thing you wish to see in your society that affects a lot of people. But on an energy level, you can imagine there's a back and forth in the flow of the energy, where it goes one way and it flows the other, back and forth it goes until there's a dominant wave effect where it sweeps in one direction and it carries everything along with it. At that point is the energy tipping point, and after that everything seems to fall into place fairly easily. It is no longer a matter of contention and strife. It's rather a sense of, oh, we're going to go this way now. The same thing happens pretty much with every collective initiative you have going on. Some things never reach that tipping point because people are unclear in their intentions. A dominant force does not build up. So it is certainly possible for the energy of contention to stay at that level. But this is why it's important to approach important things with a purity of intention and a clearness of thought and a heartfelt good intention behind the action you are undertaking. That energy from your heart chakra radiates out and lifts energy up and gives it a little extra oomph, shall we say, on the astral and higher planes. As that energy wave is shifting back and forth, your heart energy helps propel that rocket of desire to push things in the direction that you wish for. So that's what's going on behind the scenes there when you vote. There are other topics here we are thinking of and have perhaps alluded to. If possible, we will get into these with you in future sessions. But for today, when so many people are on the fence about whether or not they should go vote, let us simply say that by doing so, you are contributing to an energy shift that can transform your world. Please go vote. Democracy matters. All right, we'll leave it there. I hope you go vote. If you wonder why democracy matters, check out this video here, because Thea and the guides had something to say about that too. It's actually part of a higher path. It's worth learning about. All right, folks, have a great day, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.